Peace and blessings. I pray each and every one of you are doing well. I was in a recent conversation with a good friend of mine. We were catching up. I hadn't talked to him in a few months, so I was checking on him, see how he's doing during this time period, the pandemic, and how his family was doing. And when he answered the phone, he was just irritated. After he gave me the blessings and the love, he was just irritated. I was like, "What's going on, bro?" And so he couldn't understand how a particular political individual, specific political individual, would side and support loudly, overtly, Mr. Trump when Mr. Trump disrespected his wife, his father, and in essence disrespected him. And by now you probably know who I'm talking about. So as my brother spoke, excuse me, he he mentioned his name. He said, "No, I just can't understand how Mr. Cruz, Senator Cruz, can um, support him after Mr. Trump after all of these things." And I said, "Well, bro, my suggestion to you is that you're using a paradigm that puts God, family first above career. Um, Not that a career is not important, but you would not put that over your family, especially in the sense or when your career is disrespecting your family as well as yourself." And I said, at times for me to understand, to get an understanding of how people are moving, I have to step out of my paradigm and to get in harmony with their paradigm to see their logic. That doesn't mean I have to agree, but just to understand, get an understanding of their logic before I start, as I do an analysis, if I choose to do so. So that prompted today's post, which I call the soulless, chasing an illusion. So sticking with the context of Mr. Cruz and those who are supporting Mr. Trump, and specifically in the case of the assertion of widespread voter fraud. And I just did two recent posts addressing that in more detail. But sticking with the context and looking at and what my brother was talking about and Mr. Cruz, it's like, how does one get to this type of point? Well, and how did I come up with the title, The Soulless, Chasing an Illusion? Well, in this context, this political context, these individuals, Mr. Cruz and others, and we can expand it to not just the federal level, but with the state and local level too, as it relates to politics, are chasing what they perceive to be power to elevate their careers. And to do so, they're doing it, some, and specifically Mr. Cruz in this case, are doing it at the detriment of integrity of self, family, and community, those who follow and support those individuals or those who support Mr. Cruz, as I will let me be specific, consistent with my example, who support him. So in jeopardizing and putting into tatters and shredding your integrity, it's what I liken to what I read in the Bible, following a false idol. The false idol being the ideology and the support of Mr. Trump for your 30 pieces of silver. What are the 30 pieces of silver? Well, it's the 74 plus million people who voted for Mr. Trump. So Mr. Cruz and others who follow the pattern in terms of casting aside or shoving aside their integrity and respect of self to get this 30 pieces of silver or tap into the 74 plus million people who voted for Mr. Trump, they are perceiving consciously or subconsciously that this is powerful and this will help to grow and better their chances and grow their political career, whatever ascension level that they subscribe to or desire to reach. and not really understanding the illusionary factor of it, and that the true power, and that's why I say chasing the illusion, because that is an illusion, because there's only one power, and that is the source, that's the universe, or as some will say, God, Allah, Jehovah, um, Buddha, Krishna. You'll hear me say the creator, the universe, and such. But I'm talking about one source. That's the true power, and that's from within. No one can give that to you. That you have to tap into within self to really not just maximize it, but to have it emanate within you, so that when you do come across, in this case, Mr. Cruz, with the example of Mr. Cruz and the assertion of a widespread voter fraud, you address that issue, that assertion, objectively. You address it comprehensively, like I pointed out in my previous post, The Unpacking. So then when you do your analysis, wherever the truth lies, that's what you stand upon, and you move forward within it, even if it is contrary or opposite of your party or the individual, Mr. Trump's assertion, without fear that, oh, my career is done. Because then I would say, well, where's your belief system? Where's your faith? What essence do you follow? Are you following truth, the essence, the true power, or are you chasing the illusion, the perceived power? And I wanted to share that today, because I just won't focus so much or solely on Mr. Cruz and other political individuals who are following suit in reference to the Mr. Trump's assertion, but all of us. What illusionary power are we chasing in our careers, with our friendships, with our associations, and the way that we move and navigate this life? So I'm using those examples, but bringing it back to us, me, you, the individual. And if you find yourself after and choose to do a self-evaluation and find that you are not in harmony with the source, and you're not happy and you're facing dis-ease, take the time to unpack and remove the layers to say, what is it that is bothering me? What's the reason I'm in dis-ease? And then from that point, if it's one or more reasons, start from tapping into the source, your true power, find the truth, align yourself with that truth, and then move forward to address the issues. So if it's an individual, for example, and saying, if it's a relationship, an intimate relationship with your partner, and what it is that you really want is love, but you're not perceiving that you're getting it from this partner. And no matter what you've done and how you've interacted on a long-term or for a period of time basis, it's just not connecting. Then ask yourself, is it the person that you want, or is it really love that you want? And if it's love that you want, then it's not about the person. It's about aligning with the love that's within you, and then trying to share it with that person. And if on the long-term basis it's not connecting, then it's fine. Let that person go about their business, their way, and then you keep moving forward, because then as you want love, first you show love to self. And then that emanates, and then that will attract the love which you desire. And then you will align yourself with one whose love is on the same or equal yoke as yours. And then you move forward. So it's not the person, it's self. So in terms of bringing it back to Mr. Cruz, it's not the power that he's seeking is not in following Mr. Trump, ergo tapping into his 74 plus million that voted for him. It's the integrity itself that will take him further. So he'll have to deal with that within himself if he does ascend, because people do, not that you can't advance, but it won't be satisfactory. It won't give him the satisfaction that he's yearning for. And he'll have to address that. He and others will have to address that within self if he's not already, with his family, with the disrespect that was given, channeled towards his family, and him still supporting, or if they're also in line with that, they all would have to deal with that, just like we would all have to deal with it if we were in that position. But again, as we point one finger, as I was taught as a youth, a youngster, if you point one finger, there's four pointing at you. So let's not spend so much time focusing on what these politicians and others aren't doing. Yes, observe it, learn from it, learn to navigate and move in it to where it benefits all of us. But don't spend so much time focused on them to the point where you're not focusing on your own improvement. All right. Peace. Hotep. Blessings. Laugh a lot. Stay safe. Go outside. Get some vitamin D. Get some rest. Have fun within the pandemic, but be wise and focused.